Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have an unbalanced rack, only one vowel. But I think this is just about too good to change. So I can play Thor to get rid of all the duplicates. Not a great rack leave. W and F don't go well together. But I can't see a way of getting rid of 3 or more of my high-scoring tiles. Thor for 20. Well, I draw vowels, which helps to get rid of scoring tiles. Still quite a way from a bingo with this rack. Great slow start for my opponent as well. So I can play woof. But where's the best spot for that? I can play it here for 26. A Z would go very nicely above this O, so this doesn't feel great. What about just playing Woo for 25 and really providing very little indeed? Nothing goes in front of Abo. Well, ordinarily I would be loath to hang on to an F when I can get rid of it. But I think in this instance the strategic considerations count in favour of retaining it. Well, I do now have quite a balanced rack, but still non-bingo-y. Wow, fantastic bingo by opponent. And he takes an early lead. I am not able to respond in kind. Through a G, I would have fumigate. But I'm not seeing anything through T or R. I can play fumetti for 39. Pretty good. I have heralds and heralds. That plays in column 10. But nowhere else. I would have ashlard. I have ashlard through this A. So I should be bingoing. I currently trail, but that is about to change. So this is the spot. Is there any other? Nothing created by opponent. Heralds for 82. And that is a good pickup. I have remigate and emigrate through the A. Just looking down at this A of trials, but it's no longer available as a floater. Do I have a 7 with this rack? Great, the A remains available. Fantastic. Now, both of my bingos end 1 square short of column 13, so emigrate is better because it takes fewer hooks. Are there any other bingos to consider? And in particular, is there a 7-letter bingo here? I don't think so. Anything onto this R? No, I have meter on my rack with GI. Not seeing anything through these pairs of letters or onto the T. So emigrate for 63. Wow, what a pickup. I have Signori in column 13. Senryu plus a blank. Senryu doesn't take a post hook or any hook. I have nursery, which plays in column 2 and in column 12, so I'm certainly bingoing here. Are there any spots I've overlooked? Well, certainly column 13 is the best spot because The emigrate hook is so useful, and actually emigrate and remigate take the same number of hooks. They both take D and S. So Signori for 96, and a pretty good pickup. I'm not sure there's a 7 here. Outaged is not good, but I would suspect that there should be some 8s. Not too many floaters on this board. Auto guide through U and I. These pairs of letters not particularly useful. I have a 150-point lead, which is good, but still 36 tiles to come, including the blank and 3 of the high-scoring tiles. Great, opponent scores just 2 points, clearly concerned about my scoring in row H. So what to do with this rack? Although it's close to a bingo, I won't feel bad about wrecking it by playing off a lot of tiles. I guess D and G don't go well together. G and U are simply not great. Certainly the G in the absence of I and N is worth less. I'm just hesitating in case there's a bingo here. Through an R I would have outraged and possibly ragood. Not seeing anything onto the P. 15 minutes on my clock. So where to play? X on is good. Litu is good. Well, not seeing anything great there. What about a play in row D? Well, I can play Gord. Over 20 points. Pretty hopeless rack leave. But I'm choking the board in the sense that I'm taking out a couple of bingo lanes, or one bingo lane I'm taking out. I don't really need to take out a bingo lane. There are plenty of lanes on this board. And this isn't a great rack leave, so surely I can do better. Well, I could play duo, 13 points, that gives less away, and gate is quite a good 4-letter set, only one G to come, but only 13 points. What about getting value from the F and M? Well, yes, what about playing outage? Only 21 points. Gosh, I was expecting more. Outage for 27. Now that finally is a decent score. T stops a high-scoring tile being placed on this double letter square. Opponent will probably play a non-bingo top left, which isn't going to help him much. And outage is taking out the bingo lane that I was initially thinking about taking out. And I'm turning over tiles, which increases my chances of drawing the blank. Well, I don't draw that, but I have quite a balanced rack and some scoring potential in the B and the Y. Opponent's play of double A. Wow, fantastic bingo by opponent. So he now trails by about 100, which means I still have a good lead. But he's not used the blank, so I could be on the receiving end of another bingo. In which case, the game would be a lot closer. Now, E, N, and S are all really good floaters, and I can take them all out and turn over a lot of tiles with bygone for 30. Still the Z and J to come. Gosh, maybe I played that slightly too fast. 17 tiles in the bag. And Q, V, V, Z, and J, non-bingo-y, but opponent could get a bingo-y score from them. Wow, look at that, another bingo by opponent, 72 points. So my lead just 70. But I can use this spot I was concerned about and play conned for 36. The V hampers parallel plays in row O. It's difficult to see how the J, Q or Z could be played in row O. So this spot above the O is more dangerous. And this play sorts my rack out. Conned for 36. Wow, those 3 big tiles are still there in the remaining 14 tiles. Column 1 could be used for score. My rack not great, but not terrible either. R's takes nothing after it. So, quite handy. There are 2 triple word squares, so I will have first shot at one of them. So, for example, I've got fend in row O. What do I have in column 1? Well, not very much. Okay. Well, maybe I'll need to look elsewhere. An opponent will get both triple word squares. Fortunately, I am clinging on to a 100-point lead. Great, only 28 points for opponent. And he's taken out that triple word square, and that means that the only one I could use remains available. And this is good. I'm going to leave 1 tile in the bag. I could draw the Q, but maybe I'll draw an I to go with it. And I dodged the Q. Fantastic. So remaining tiles looking pretty unpropitious. 32 for opponent. He's got 6 tiles left, but they don't look particularly useful. My rack does look good, but I'm not seeing a 7, and there are no bingo lanes on the board, full stop. So how can I go out in 2? Just looking in column 12, I've got the N. Can I get C or V doubled? No, I can't. That's a shame. I could play Reen, but I need to focus on my scoring tiles. Nothing goes after V, so I don't have a row O play. Nothing goes in front of Hood. And C and V are particularly awkward for parallel plays. 10 minutes on my clock. Now, I do have Vane here for 22. Can I go out with Rec? Perk is good. That doesn't play. Rec and Fur, column 3. I need a second out. Surely somewhere. Well, not that I can see immediately. I think I will play this. It's a decent score. And opponent's going to be minded to play his J, and I think he'll struggle to do that in column 3. And I may, in any event, have a second out that I simply haven't spotted yet. And I can have a look for it now while opponent is thinking about what to do. But he's only used up 4 minutes of time, so I'm not expecting him to take long on this play. And he doesn't. And he leaves Rec alone. Fantastic. So, is there a better spot for me? Not seeing anything through KO. I have the tiles for Ochre, but that doesn't work. So Rec and Fur for 16. And the final score, 400 for my opponent, 511 for me, a winning margin of 111 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a great game. Always good fun to get over 500 points. It was me to go first, and I played Thor. Interestingly, Waft also available, and I think Waft is a better play. H and W go together a lot better than F and W. Opponent's rack plays Oob. And now, what do? I play Woo for 25. More points on offer, J5. Well, I think with all these higher scoring spots, they're providing more useful floaters and or opportunities on the board, and Woo is a pretty tight move. However, that didn't stop opponent from bingoing. And I have Fumetti for 39, so I trail by about 20. No bingo here, but a nice looking rack plays Oi. And I have Harold's for 82, but headrails available through AI. Now, I lead by about 50. Opponent's rack plays Z. And these are the only choices, and Remigate scores 3 more points, so I should have done that. Opponent's rack, no bingo. Plays Pug. And I have Signori for 96, which was just a ridiculous pickup, and established a huge lead. Opponent plays R, so let's have another look at this. Okay, so he wasn't simply blocking a scoring spot for me, he was basically leaving himself with an immense 6-letter set, which is fine. Now, this is a move I agonized over. I went with Outage for 27 in the end. Not many more points on offer, and I think D is worth 2 more points than U. U must be worth about -5, I think, possibly -6, and D must be close to 0, maybe -1. And there's only a 2-point difference in score, so Outage is better. And this is opponent's rack after trading, or not trading, after playing a solitary A. He does now have a ton of bingos, plays Salines, but still trails by 100. I play Bygone, but bogey A1. Oh, wow. Well, unwow, because column 1 is a non-bingo lane, whereas the thinking behind Bygone was to take out NES and turn over tiles. Well, it's the same number of tiles as bogey. This is just one of these plays which, if it backfires, you end up thinking you've done something terrible and you should have done the different play, because clearly by playing Bygone, I'm setting up a massive Z or J spot and also creating a bingo lane, and I'm giving up 19 points in score. So it would be interesting to simulate these two plays. Each has its merits. As it happens, opponent does have a bingo, but I'm now able to use the spot created. However, an even better play, 07. Wow, Fonded in row O for 62 points. That's huge. It leaves the J and Z spot alone, which concerns me. Conned in this spot was only 36, so I'm giving up 26 points in score. Row O, the power tiles simply can't play. So again, this is one of these moves which are very, very difficult to analyse on the hoof. And I think even simulation doesn't reveal the full picture, partly because it assumes perfect play from players. Now, opponent with 2 of the power tiles plays Cuz, could have got 59 for Zari, because of Remigrates. Wow. Remigrates, I think. Now, my rack, row O still available, and now I finally do get a decent score. Well, my play is the same as the top play, which it hasn't been for the last few moves. So I have a huge lead now. Opponent plays Cat. Vice available at A1. Wow, that's nice, 35 points, but I'm not sure I'm going out with CERN. So I play Vane, opponent plays Jeep, and finally there were 2 outs. There was Wreck, which was my play, and Merc at I1. Okay, well, yes, they're both in the same place on the board, so they could both have been blocked. And that was the end of the game. So absolutely huge fun, very fast game. Opponent used only about 4 minutes of their time, and I had about 10 minutes left as well. So that's just the way it is. Sometimes it's very difficult to pace yourself in Scrabble. You try and hold something back to use in the event of a tricky spot or a difficult endgame, but sometimes those situations don't arise and you simply finish the game with a lot of available time, as has happened here. So many thanks to my opponent for a good game. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.